So the next section that we're going to create is where we're going to put in our quote. This can be like a mission statement or a quote that you believe in. So I'm just going to copy over the text and come back over here. So what we're going to do is add a new row. So we can click on the plus icon and select the row with just one column. So you can select 2 columns, 3 columns as well. So for example, this one will be 1 column and 2 columns. This one is just 1. So let's go back over here and click on that, and that's your column. So to add in a text, drop in a text module. So what we're going to do is we're going to paste the text and match style, or paste as plain text, so there's no styling to it. Okay, so you can also click on toggle toolbar over here and click on that and paste it in as well, so you don't copy any styling over. So the first thing that we can do is maybe add some spacing. So we can add some spacing, we can hover over the top here and sort of drag it down to maybe 75. And then we're going to do the same thing for the bottom, 75 as well. That's all good. Then what we could do is maybe we can align the text into the middle. So let's click over here and click on font, and then we can align it into the center. So what we're going to do is adjust the size as well. So we're going to adjust the size for the quote. So we're going to change the font to 22. I think that looks okay. And maybe we can leave it as that. The only thing that I do want to change is if we go to text, is I want to change the font size over here. So sometimes if you want to have 2 different sizes, for example, this one over here and this one over here, you want it to be different, then what you need to do is go back over here. We're going to set this one to maybe heading 6, like that. So then what we could do is go back to styling and then click on general, click on heading, and then click on heading 6 font. So that basically means we can edit the heading 6 font in here as well. So I'm going to adjust the size a little bit to maybe, let's say 12. I think that looks okay. And maybe adjust the letter spacing to 1, like that. So that just adds some nice sort of hierarchy in terms of the text, because we sort of want to differentiate it. So remember I sort of mentioned it before, something like this. So we do want to make sure it looks really nice by doing something like this. Okay, so let's go back over here, and I think that looks okay. So the only thing that I want to do is maybe change the font color. So let's go back to the general. So here for the font color, I might change it to a dark gray, so 222. And I think that looks a little bit better. Okay, so let's go back over here and compare it. Maybe let's try and make it a little bit smaller, or maybe add some letter spacing, something like that. Okay, I think that looks really, really nice. So here we can click on done, and that is done. So to add in the next section, we can click on plus and click on 2 columns. So on the left, we're going to add an image. So drop that in here. And then we're going to select, let's say, I think this one over here. And I've cropped the size to about 800 to 533. Click on insert file, and then we've got our image. So then we can go over here, click on done. We can drop in a text module into the right hand side, like that. And I'm going to come back over here and just paste in everything. So copy that and come back here, and let's just paste that in like that. And I want to change this one to heading 2. So let's change this to heading 2, like that. Okay, so as you can see, it might have edited everything. So I'm going to Control Z or Command Z to undo. And I want to hit on enter one time. So I think I accidentally set heading 2 to the whole entire paragraph. So let's set it heading 2 like that. And that should be fine. Now the next step that I want to do is I sort of want to align this into the middle of the image. So what you can do is hover over here and hover over the gear icon, and then select align into the middle. So over there, and that looks quite nice already. So the next thing that we can do is we can zoom out of the page a little bit, and we can also rearrange the column sort of width of that. So we can hover over the image just on the outer line, and then we can sort of drag it inwards like that. So I think that looks a little bit more balanced. So maybe let's try around 35% like that. So we can zoom back in, and that's looking really, really good. So the only thing that I want to show you to do is maybe add in a divider line to sort of separate our content a little bit. So as I said before, we sort of want to separate our content with divider lines and maybe like a background and then white space and then an image. So here we're going to add a divider line. So let's go back over here and let's drop in a divider. So click on done, look for a divider, drop that below that, like that. And here what we're going to do is change the color. So basically what we want to do is either keep it like a neutral color, so like maybe a dark gray or a light gray, but in this case I'm going to use this color over here. So let's click back over here. So the button, so I forgot to actually click on the styling and the button link. I forgot to set in that color. So what you probably want to do is click into it and add it to your color palette like that. So we can reuse the color anytime. Let's go back over here and let's click back into the divider line. Sometimes it can be quite challenging, but you should be able to get it. And let's click back onto that line just like that. Set the thickness to 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change the divider width to custom. And then we're going to align it into the middle like that. So I do want to add maybe some spacing. So what we're going to do is hover over that and click it and sort of drag it. So we're going to add maybe 20 or 30 pixels. I think that looks okay. Sometimes you do need to play around with it a little bit. So let's have a look. Okay, so I think that looks quite decent. Let's click on save and that's done. So the next section is over here. We're scrolling down and you can see this section over here. I'm also going to show you how to add in a link. So let's just add in a link. Go back over here. And then let's create a link. So hover and select the link that you want to create, the text, and then click on insert link. And then depending on what you want to link it to, so for example, if you want to link it to my website, so copy it from the URL, copy that, and then we can go back and paste it in like that. So generally what I personally like to do is click on link options and open link in a new tab, especially if it's linking outside of my website, and then click on update. So that's done. So here we're going to zoom back in to our page and we're going to create the next section. So the next section is we need 1, 2, 3. So we need 3 different columns.